Which is better, a company with a slightly higher dividend who does not place importance upon consistently increasing their dividend, or a company with a lower dividend, we'll say at or above the 2% average dividend yield of the S&P 500, but this company consistently increases their dividend by a sustainable rate over time. Although it may largely depend on the type of company and your personal investment strategy and risk tolerance, I generally prefer and recommend investing into companies who have a track record of dividend increases. This is especially important to practice when you are attempting to use dividend growth investing. The fundamental metric, which is used to illustrate how a company manages their dividend payouts year over year, is the dividend growth rate. Commonly referred to as the DGR, the dividend growth rate expresses the percentage growth that a company's dividend has changed over time. You can find the dividend growth rate of a dividend paying company on seekingalpha.com under the dividend tab, or if your desired time frame is unavailable, you can calculate it quite easily by first noting the dividend payouts for each year within your given time frame. Next, you want to calculate the dividend increase or decrease between each of the selected years. This is done by taking the new dividend, dividing it by the original dividend, subtracting that quotient by a value of 1, and then multiplying it all by 100 to convert it into a percentage. Lastly, take the average of all the calculated annual dividend growth rates. I want you to note here that you will have calculated one less annual growth rate than number of years you started with, and you now have the average dividend growth rate of the selected company within the given period of time. If the calculated average dividend growth rate is negative, this signals that the company has cut their dividend over the tested period and should definitely be a point of concern for investors. Additionally, there is no ideal dividend growth rate, as companies with a lower dividend often increase them at larger rates than their higher distributing counterparts. This is often because they're paying out less money to the shareholder, and in some cases they even have a lower payout ratio. If you want more information on that, I encourage you to check out last week's Fundamental Fridays, which I'll throw up on the screen and link in the description. I do often like to shoot for an average dividend growth rate over a 10-year period of at least 5 to 10%. Once you start getting upwards of 10%, it's difficult to find companies which consistently increase their dividend this much. To learn how to gain access to the best list of dividend-paying companies alongside their dividend yields, dividend growth rates, and payout ratios, as well as a multitude of other fundamental metrics, check out my video, Building a Dividend Portfolio. I recommend you also pay attention to the consecutive number of dividend increases a company has. To qualify as a dividend increase, a company must raise their dividend payout at least 1 quarter every year, and they also may not cut their dividend at all. Value companies who have established multiple years of dividend increases are generally considered as good investments among value investors who may have lower risk tolerances. These companies are also expected to increase their dividends in the future, and likewise, management will oftentimes place a lot of importance upon this as to not upset or scare away investors. All in all, dividend growth rate, especially coupled with the payout ratio, is an important fundamental metric which can help you form a good idea on where a dividend-paying company places the importance, whether it be on the dividend or the growth of business operations. If you found this video helpful, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. While you're down there, smash that like button and leave me a comment if there's a specific fundamental metric which you would like to talk about. If you enjoyed this segment of Fundamental Fridays, where we look at a separate fundamental metric each week, remember to turn on notifications and check back next week to further your fundamental analysis. As always, I'm Patrick Zimmerman. Thank you for your time and have a nice day.